What is going on, everybody? Non here and a little late tonight on the video for distro update, but that's okay. And for those of you who haven't been paying attention, looks like we got a little bit of rumbling in the Magic the Gathering vintage market. We got a lot of stuff moving up all-time highs. There's Legacy, Destiny, Saga, Tempest, Stronghold, some Weatherlight. So it looks like things are moving for the first time in quite a long time. So, all right, let's get started here. It is OP15 pre-release weekend. Still waiting for non-OP allocation on that, but it does look like, I guess I can pull this up just for visual. It does look like OP15, it's about the same amount of supply as OP14, but One Piece is now legitimately suffering from the same issue that Pokemon is. When the pie is the same and all the stores start to jump in with organized play, the pieces are getting cut smaller and smaller and tinier. So unfortunately, the days of being able to build larger allocations in One Piece, I think are generally done. I think what we're going to find is even as stores run more and more larger events, there's just always going to be a limitation until things slow down. And it does look like things are slowing down a little bit. But the black swan's really going to be with OP17. How much product do they push out to PhD and Southern? And how much do they increase the print run? Because now all of a sudden, the boxes come out there right around $200. It doesn't look like there's that much undersupply in the market compared to what it did a couple months ago when there was all this artificial demand. So we'll see what they do. Either way, moving on. Bojack's Battle Arena. I mentioned this last time. I cannot emphasize this enough. By the way, this is the most badass packaging of all time. Whoever did this, kudos. For those of us who played the original Tecmo Bowl and actually knew who Bo Jackson was when he was playing baseball and football, long before Deion Sanders. It's really cool. So again, it's a really cool crossover between Sports Rip and Chips, because all the autos are on card, and TCG. If you haven't ordered it before, I suggest you at least take a look at it. It sells pretty well. Now, in a TCG audience, it's growing. In a sports audience, it's an absolute home run. So that being said, let's move on to the next one. Dragon Ball. Really not a whole heck of a lot to do here. I do want to mention, so for those of you who don't follow Reserved Investments on YouTube, he's reasonably local to me, probably 20, 25 minutes away. Really good content. He talks a lot about collectibles, but he did a video tonight that was based on the top 12 most grossing entertainment franchise of all time. And I was actually surprised to see that Dragon Ball was number 12. I didn't realize that the IP was that big. And the total gross on the IP it's something like $35 billion in its life, which is quite honestly pretty badass. So FB09 just came out. Looks like the boxes are holding up very well. In fact, I'm going to take a look at this while I'm talking here because I should know. There you go. FB09. Let's just take a look at this real quick with the screen behind the screen that you guys are looking at. Yeah, holy shnikes. Boxes are $265 for Dual Evolution, which is absolutely phenomenal. And look, I think it's interesting because Bandai has a little bit of a dilemma. They had both Dragon Ball games, Digimon, Union Arena, all dying because there were so many backpack sellers that could buy this shit, and they would just race to zero. Now that it's brick and mortar only, and now that you have a new Dragon Ball anime coming out, the world's changed because the supply looks like it's gone down fairly significantly. So now it's interesting because the collectors, investors are super happy. The stores are super happy. I'm super happy. But folks that want cheap cards aren't so happy. And quite honestly, I'm not sure they want those customers. Just the way they're managing things, which quite honestly, if you had to take the lesser of the two evils, I think the way they're doing it is probably the right way. So moving on, Final Fantasy, the new set came out on Friday. Seems like it has quite a bit of interest. Dreamlike Oceans. I've actually sold over 100 boxes of this, which is kind of surprising. People really like the game. They like the cards. The only thing I wish Square Enix would actually spend just one little thread of effort pushing this. I think I mentioned you guys at New York Toy Fair. I went, and the booth was kind of cool. It had a lot of stuffed animals, tchotchkes of all the different Final Fantasy characters, but they had a box of Journey of Discovery there. And I walked around the booth for probably 5 minutes, hoping for somebody to like talk to me, and nobody said a damn word, which was really, really disappointing. They did have a back room where I guess they had a private meeting with folks, and they were showing them product. I didn't have a chance to stick around and go back. But I really think the game's cool. I think the cards are cool. The cards actually have plastic backs, which is kind of badass. So if they ever spend the time and effort to push this, it could do quite well. But the boxes do age well over time. But again, there's not a whole lot of liquidity. Flesh and Blood. I don't even know where to begin on this. Omens of the Third Age is the next set coming out in June. I'm probably not going to buy it. It wasn't worth the risk, the time, the effort, the headache last time for Compendium. And the set before, which we didn't get I think we got like 12 boxes. It's not worth it. It's just, it's at the point where it's kind of purgatory. And I think I mentioned this last week where the players are too cheap to buy the boxes. But if you buy the boxes and rip them for singles, you're going to lose money because the players are too cheap to pay for the fucking singles too. So it's in this weird place where the player base just doesn't want to spend any money. And that's just a relative aggregate. Some folks do, some folks don't. And I think that's really a function of the fact that the value of sealed product just gets destroyed over time because of the way they manage things, the way they reprint value cards, and the way that they rotate heroes out. And the non-generic cards of money end up going to zero. And quite honestly, for that, I'm out. Moving to Godzilla. Same thing here as I said with Final Fantasy. If Toho pushed this a little bit, it would be really, really badass. I did buy about 100 boxes of BPO4. We have a nice little base who likes the cards. I like to play the game. So it's going to be super interesting. One other game I do want to mention before I forget, for those of you who don't know Cookie Run is a South Korean phone app. It's the same as all the other phone apps where, you level characters and you go through the board screens or the board, whatever, you play through the game and with all the regular boards, there's, PvP arena, shit like that. But the newest set 4 of the TCG came out this past week. Looks like the game is growing relatively quickly. Collectability wise, the cards are really, really nice. There's serialized cards in there. Not super liquid yet because it's hit or miss on eBay. There are some stores that carry it. There's a bunch of stores that run organized play on it. I think Star City Games is one. There's another group out of Florida. I forget their name. They run them as well. And I know a couple large stores who have large play groups. So I would keep an eye on it. We sell it on the website to subs, but you can just as easy get it on eBay. It should potentially hit TCG Player at some point in time. It's probably far more popular than Flesh and Blood at this point in the US, quite honestly. But I do want to mention that because there is a new set that's out, and the cards are just phenomenally beautiful. And apparently the game plays well also. Again, I am not a gamer. I don't have time to learn the games, but it seems like it's cool. Gundam card game. ST04 came out this weekend. We got none of it because I believe we missed the pre-release window. The pre-release window on a lot of this stuff, again, with Bandai, is 6 to 7 months before the stuff comes out. But we do have GDO4 coming out here in the next couple weeks. It's going to be interesting to see if GDO4 is received as well as Steel Requiem was, which is the third set And that set sold extremely, extremely well. Now, I do think that the supply for today, based on the player base, is a little bit on the high side. It's not crazy on the high side. But yeah, I think the demand is going to come as the player base grows. And again, Bandai has everything to lose with the Gundam card game since they own the IP. It's certainly worth paying attention to. Lorcana, everything's garbage other than Fabled. If I'm incorrect, feel free to comment in the comment section, but whatever. My Little Pony TCG, I do want to mention, it does look like some of the product has started to land in the US. And I believe it's supposed to come out in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So this is going to come out. There are not a whole lot of boxes in the US. So it's going to be interesting to see what the box prices do with demand, how the game plays, and quite honestly, where the prices are on eBay, because this is one of those games. What's interesting is it looks like the way that Kyo does the rarities and the chases is there's a couple different iterations of packs, meaning some packs you can get like an ultra rare, other packs you get like super rare, and the ultra rare is like 1 out of 5 packs. Super rare is 1 or 4 out of 5 packs. So it's going to be interesting to see if there's like a hyper chase or if it's a little more generic. If it's a little more generic, I'm probably going to be a little disappointed, but remains to be seen. One Piece we talked about. League of Legends. Just want to go through this real quick. So Unleashed, and I mentioned this again last week, looks like Unleashed has the same or a little bit more product than what Spirit Forge did. Now, from what I'm told, it's only going to be 1 wave. I do reserve the right to correct myself because I only have a handful of allocations here. There are still 4 other distributors that I have not heard from. Obviously, it's still a little early for this one. But as I mentioned before, the vaults are super, super hard to get. I believe the cases are 12 or 10. I did not get a case of those from either of my first 2 allocations, which is really, really interesting because based on percentage of booster boxes, it was less than 7%. So it's going to be interesting to see if that behaves or performs as well as Proving Grounds did. So just want to get that out there. Moving on. Yeah, Proving Grounds second print here. I believe this has been moved back. When I was at Gamma, they mentioned June. I do have some allocations for this, but nobody seems to know when it's coming. And I will mention that the Origins reprint that was solicited for March also looks like it's being pushed back. Heard secondhand from a UVS rep who simply stated that it's being reprinted. Now, again, I don't know if this rep knows anything, doesn't know anything. No idea, but I figured I would mention that. Moving on, Sorcery, still nothing on Gothic as far as I know for the 3 people who play Sorcery and watch the content. Let's see, moving on. Wonders of the First. So they had a new set that came out. This is the same group that I believe makes BoJack's Battle Arena. No idea what's going on here. Quite honestly, I figured this would be a distribution as well. Again, I think I mentioned they reached out to LGS's direct for solicitation. We responded, and then they went totally dark on us, and we haven't heard anything. So that's kind of what it is there. Union Arena, let's touch on this one because these prices are strong again as well. Looks like solo leveling boxes are like $250. Last I checked. In fact, let me double check real quick on the other screen. Solo leveling booster box. They're down at $185. But $185 for a new release of a Union Arena box has got to be like a new high score. It's phenomenal how quickly Union Arena has pivoted. And look, they have added serialized cards as well. So that's really, really fascinating how quickly this has turned. But if you look here, there's a new set coming out every month or every half month, and it's absolutely exhausting. We'll mention that there is a Nikkei set coming out for Union Arena, a specialty set, not the first one that got printed to high hell, a new set supposedly with on-card autos and serialized cards. Now, I don't see it here, and I don't know why, but I wouldn't sleep on it. I ordered a bunch of it because, quite honestly, giant cartoon boobs and on-card autographs and serialized cards, I mean, that is the trifecta of what you want to have valuable cards. If you're Weiss or if you're Union Arena, or quite honestly, if you're everyone, Wizards of the Coast, people like to see giant cartoon boobs, not, no. Anyway, we'll keep the politics out of this one. Anyway, moving on. Let's go to Magic real quick, and we'll end with Pokemon because everybody wants to watch that. So you got to fast forward. So Turtles continues to move. It looks like we are getting a reprint of Turtles Play. We've seen this for the last 4 sets. Play boxes come about 4 weeks after release. It also is the 29th. Tomorrow's the 30th. Tuesday's the 31st of June, oh my God, of March. So now we're getting the influx of all of the play box reprints because WotC has to hit their quarter. So Turtles is coming. I saw we're getting Final Fantasy starter kits again, which is dumb as shit because there's still a million of them out there. I don't know what anybody's going to do with them, but they're going to just take up a ton of space. And then it does look like we're getting Edge of Eternities. So do not pay $140 for Edge of Eternities if you watch the video. From what I'm told, it is going to be meaningfully larger than the last reprint, and that's aggregate across the 2 or 3 waves that we got between December and January/February. So I have a feeling that Edge of Eternities is going to follow a similar trajectory to the Lorwyn, the second wave of Lorwyn, which, by the way, is now dried up from distribution, so expect that to move back up. And, I could unfortunately see Edge of Eternity sub 120, 115, because all the broke-ass Timmy stores get the product and they rush to dump it. So moving on, we have Marvel. Not sure what the supply looks like for this yet. I will tell you guys the same thing I tell everybody in Discord. All of the vocal people hating on Magic, WotC does exactly the opposite of what everybody expects every single fucking time. Marvel they're not going to screw up Marvel like they did Spider-Man. It's going to be a home run. Just wait and see. They cannot afford to do it again. It's either going to be super, super short printed, quote, end quote, meaning they're going to short ship distribution and keep a lot of stuff behind the scenes, whether it's Amazon or Micropenis or whatever. But do not sleep on the product. The product is going to be a home run. And then we come out with The Hobbit in August. Have heard very little about it, but Lord of the Rings Commander displays that just hit the market. When the Hobbit spoilers come out, they're going to go absolutely freaking insane because everybody's going to go backwards and everybody's going to want them. And if you have them, you will be able to print money. If you don't, you're probably going to want them. That being said, I am expecting us to get all of the older set box reprints here probably in the end of April. That would be Ixalan, Wilds, Lord of the Rings set. Now, it could push to May, could push to June. All I know is they obviously don't need those sales in Q1, so they're most likely going to take them in Q2, because when you get to Q3, things get a little bit easier for them because you start to get some big boy sets. And then also Karlov Commanders, and then presumably Fallout and Wilds. Oh, the one thing I do want to mention, and this was purely accidental. So in my monthly subscription program, we offer coupons for Magic products, and it's a monthly thing, and people can buy any Commander display that we have in stock at a pretty decent discount to market. So we had Ixalan, and I think we were selling Ixalan for like $169.99 or $174.99, something like that. And Ixalan Commander displays are $200. Velociraptor's $85. It's about to be over 100 because the sell-through is so high. But we sold through a pallet. We broke open another pallet, and I didn't realize this before, but the label on it was Cardamundi, and it was in Spanish, so presumably packed in Spain. But the boxes said printed in the USA, which was a little head scratching. So I wonder if the boxes weren't shipped to Europe, to Cardamundi, who printed the cards, packed them in US boxes, and shipped them back to the US. Um, I don't want to talk, I don't really want to get into a conversation about, tariff evasion, avoidance, or any of that stuff. This is more a conversation about, we know Europe just got Wilds of Eldraine Commander displays. They're going to get Fallout Commander displays. It really opens the door, in my opinion, to, if they're printing those in Belgium through Cardamundi, of having them import those cards into the US, just for a little bit of diversification of printers, especially given some of the questions around tariffs. Are there tariffs? Aren't there tariffs? Who knows? But I do want to mention that is not, presumably not, off the table. Initially, I kind of thought that, Belgian printings for Europe, if we wanted to get those two, they'd have to print them in the US. But it looks like that may not necessarily be the case. So moving on to Pokemon, and it is, where's P? Oh my God, I'm blind. It is Perfect Order release weekend. And for all of the people on the internet that bitched and moaned and said Perfect Order is a shit set, it's going to sub MSRP, blah, 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 blah. Everybody underestimates the fact that there's probably 100,000 fewer boxes on this market, or of this set, hitting the market between Wave 1 and Wave 2. And that is going to create a sizable, what's the word? Obviously reduction in supply, but the demand, I don't think is going to be that much less. And we're seeing that in the market. I mean, the market is still sitting at $215 a box. This is after all the broke-ass Timmy stores have been dumping and all the negativity and this and that. And whether you like the set or don't like the set, the booster boxes are performing just fine. What is that, $40, $50, $55 above MSRP for the worst set of the year. No different than Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles collector boxes sitting at $400 at release. Not quite MSRP, but for the worst set of the year, I'll take it. And that just shows you how absolutely insane and how strong this market is. When the absolute shit sets are selling for a third over MSRP, or just slightly 20% under MSRP in a game that nothing trades at MSRP, it's an absolute home run. So no idea when the second wave of this is coming out. I do want to mention that Ascended Heroes mini tins, the second wave, hit distribution this week, so they will be coming out shortly. It also looks like the second wave of the first partner illustration collections have hit distro. In fact, I got one of my second waves on Friday, so those will be coming out. And as most of you with distribution know, everybody gets their product at different times. They have different receiving procedures. Some will hit a warehouse and they'll get it out right away. Others will wait for everything to get in the warehouse and do everything at one time. So it's a nice, orderly, and fair process to get the product out to the market. So keep an eye out for that, because those things are still selling like $55, which is absolutely insane. And the sell-through on those things it just blows my mind. I was so wrong on that product. And look, we made a ton of money on it, but now I'm second guessing the second wave. And again, for those of you out there who have distribution, initially we all kind of thought that the wave system was a pain in the butt, but now you can sell wave 1 and you can afford to sit back and see what happens with wave 2, because the margin on this stuff has been so good for so long. If wave 2 tanks, you don't have to sell it. If wave 2 goes up, you can decide if you want to sell it or not. It's really an unprecedented time in the market. And I think everybody should just take a second to realize where we're at. The market's not crashing anytime soon. Nothing's going to MSRP anytime soon. And, we haven't even sniffed 30th anniversary. Now we have the Greninja set coming up here in May. We have Pitch Black, which is the Darkrai set. God forbid they put a Dark Charizard in that set. it's going to be bad shit. Those boxes could be $300 at release. Now, normally that would be the September set. What I don't know yet is if they're going to push that out in July when we normally get the specialty set and use September for the anniversary sets, similar to 151 came out in September as well. Not necessarily the same circumstances. And then we have Storm Emerald or whatever the hell it is, presumably coming out in November. So those sets should all be bangers. And then 30th anniversary, like the spoilers of the Chrome cards with the Mew and the Mewtwo, if those are real, this set is going to be absolutely insane. And everybody and their brother, they're just going to trample each other to get it. And it's just when you think they can't hype it anymore, they do. And they just continue to crush it. So again, we have the EX boxes coming out, the booster bundles coming out for Ascended Heroes in April. And then, don't look now, but we're less than 2 months away from Chaos Rising. And the Greninja is going to sell well. It's going to be badass. Then we have these Mega Zygarde EX collection boxes coming out, which should be perfect order. Presumably some Phantasmal. We'll see. The Lucario Battle Decks, which I ordered the crap out of because that's the only way that you can at least keep spend neutral because everybody else is doing the same thing. And when everything's ratio-based, you can't take a step backwards. Building battles, World Championship decks. It looks like these got pushed back a little bit, I think. And then we have these. First of all, the mini tins look badass because it's like one big cityscape. But these Moonlit tins, if you guys didn't see this, here you have whatever, like Clefairy, sort of, kind of. But look at the other one. You get the Mega Gengar EX promo. Like, this looks way cooler than the Mega Charizard X and Mega Charizard Y10. Like, these are going to be absolutely insane. And they just keep putting out absolutely fantastic products again and again and again. And everybody wants them. And that's why the market is insane. You get a little bit of hype, and then the Pokemon Company does their part by just building more and more and more and more. And it's not going to slow down anytime soon. So anyway, guys, that's all I have for tonight. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, join the Discord, and have a great week.